Everybody doing out there today? Oh, why am I using that voice? Oh yeah, I was getting ready to call into work here right after this video. I'm gonna go do some fishing. Probably not good to do on a video, but whatever. The ruling came in for Donald Trump yesterday and the United States. 6-3 victory. Let's get into this video. Oh, and by the way, I want to thank a good friend of mine who made that sign for me there. He made that. I really appreciate it, Josh. Thank you. So let's get into how this news media turned this out to be a very, very bad thing for our Constitution. Let's dive into the video.
Donald Trump wants to govern like a dictator, and the 6-3 conservative supermajority on the Supreme Court seems eager to let him. In an impassioned dissent to today's ruling on birthright citizenship and nationwide injunctions, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson warned of what lies ahead for our democracy now that her conservative colleagues have curtailed one of the only means of reining in potentially illegal actions from this or really any administration. Quote, "Disaster looms. What I mean by this is that our rights-based legal system can only function properly if the executive and everyone else is always bound by law."
All right, people, it doesn't get any better than this. You got a Joe Biden playing a judge, and her life dream was to be a Supreme Court justice judge. She also had a dream that she wanted to be in Broadway. I watched it, people. I couldn't make it more than 30 seconds. You know, I always wanted to be a brain surgeon, but my 0.0 grade score didn't make that possible. Yeah, the DEI is dead and gone, thank God. Hopefully things will start getting 100% better. They're getting better, but the media is pissed. People, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the small channels out, and I can put out better content. So if you can hit that button for me, let's get back into the video.
Senator Chris Van Hollen is a Democrat of Maryland, and he joins me now to discuss all of this. Senator, thanks so much for joining me. Today, you
Catherine, good to be with you.
Great to see you. Today, you decried the court ceding power to what you call a lawless authoritarian president. What do you think the long-term practical implications of this ruling are or could be?
Well, I agree with Justice Jackson and with the dissent in this case, which is that it is a big blow to our ability to enforce our rights because our rights, our constitutional rights, our other legal rights are, of course, only as good as our ability to enforce them. And what this decision does is it throws up lots of additional roadblocks and obstacles to the remedy, right? Because when your constitutional rights are violated, this is going to make it much harder for individuals other than those who go to court and are themselves plaintiffs to have their rights adjudicated and restored. And so I do think this is a big blow. And it's another example of this Supreme Court that's been largely stacked by Donald Trump appointees, ceding their constitutional responsibilities and duties to the executive, when under Article 3, they're the ones that should be standing up and making sure that we can enforce our rights.
Well, not only ceding their power to rein in the executive, but the power of other courts to potentially stop the executive from taking illegal actions.
Absolutely.
Senator Van Hollen, who we all know hates Americans, he loves his illegals, was a Gilmore, whatever his name was, that they sent to El Salvador. You know, he went there and had martinis with them. This is a guy who a 37-year-old woman with 5 kids, Rachel Morin, was murdered, and he did absolutely nothing about it. If I was the mayor in that town, I would have had a one-night swoop and got every illegal out of that area that you could have. But no, now he's going to sit here and tell us how the Constitution is being destroyed by Trump's planted judges in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court doesn't favor Donald Trump with anything, but they have to face reality and see what we voted for. We voted for this mass deportation, this birthright citizenship. They're going to come here on vacation, have a kid, take off to another country, leave their kid here, and the rest of the world is supposed to take care of it. It doesn't work that way, people. Let's get a little bit farther into this video. I'm sorry, these videos just sometimes piss you off because you see how bad the news media and these Democrats hate America. They hate it.
I mean the power of the judiciary. I mean the power of Article III courts. What the Supreme Court is done, and again stacked largely by these Trump appointees, is ceding their power under the Constitution, in fact their responsibility as a judicial branch, they're ceding that to Donald Trump, who is a lawless president. So when you have a combination of a lawless president like Donald Trump, and then you have a Supreme Court that wants to essentially get rid of the remedies that we have when it comes to enforcing our rights, this is a very dangerous moment. So I agree with Judge Jackson in her strong language.
Senator, while Donald Trump faces more nationwide injunctions than any other president, he is correct about that. That's because he issues more unlawful orders than any other president. These injunctions are not unique to Republicans. Joe Biden, his predecessor, had a number of his priorities stymied by similar nationwide injunctions. So this cuts both ways, no?
It does. You're exactly right. And there were, judges who enjoined some of President Biden's actions, his executive orders, where I disagreed with them. And of course, the idea then is they're adjudicated through the court system, from the district court level to the appellate court level, and ultimately to the Supreme Court level. But when you have a system that doesn't allow the most obvious violations of constitutional legal rights to be remedied on a nationwide basis when they're violated, then you expose people for very long periods of time to being stripped of their constitutional or other legal rights. And so that's why I think this was a blow.
Not a sponsor. That's who he should have been worried about. Rachel, that's who he should have been worried about. He should have been very happy with the Supreme Court's decision that let's go ahead and let's deport everybody. We're going with Trump. That's what Rachel Moore, I'm sure, is very happy that happened. But this guy's a moron, and he cares more about the illegals and their rights. They don't have any rights. What about the women that were killed? What about all the others that were killed? Everybody that was killed because these morons that let them into this country. People, it's disgusting. Now let's get to a common sense person. Let's check this out.
Chuck Schumer and the Democrat Party presided over the invasion of this country, violating our immigration laws, violating our sovereignty, violating our Constitution. And now they're relying on a handful of district court judges to cement that invasion. Americans showed up at the polls in overwhelming numbers to repel that invasion, to put Donald Trump back in the White House. With today's action, the Supreme Court has said that President Trump can fully deliver on the mandate the American people gave him in November.
And there you have it. Somebody with common sense. These Democrats don't have any sense. They don't care about the American people whatsoever. None. They don't care. All these young ladies that were violated and brutally their lives taken was one too many, people. Let's get these people out of here. That's what we voted for, not these rogue judges and these Democrats. We gotta keep them out of office, people. We have to. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really helped me out a lot. Thank you, and you guys have a great day.